What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Ravage 230. Alright guys, so the random question of the day is, what size atomizers do you like to use? Do you prefer the tiny little 22 millimeters, or do you go big with something like a freaking 40 millimeter, something like that? Personally, I tend to go with the 24 millimeter atomizers just because they fit on absolutely everything that I own, and I know they're going to look good, but occasionally I will bust out the 25 millimeter Kennedy and stuff like that. But anyways, let me know right down there in the comments box below what size atomizers you guys use. Alright guys, let's get started here. This is the Ravage 230 by our friends over at Wismec, with a big shout out and thank you going their way for allowing me to take a look at this device for the purpose of making this video. And this one is basically like the next iteration in the Predator mod series. It's basically like a Predator with a big color screen on it. So yeah, it's obviously not called the Predator, it's called the Ravage 230. Not sure why they didn't just continue on with that line, or if it just left a bad taste in people's mouths, so that's why they did it. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look online. This thing is going to come in 4 different color options. You have black, stainless, red, and blue, and it's going to cost you about 60 bucks for the kit, which is absolutely amazing in my opinion. Let's say you're upgrading from a single 18650 battery, you really don't have to spend an arm and a leg on a kit with a lot more power. So with that, I think it's a really good deal. If you guys want to grab one for yourself, I'll leave a link right down there in the description below. Make sure you check it out. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive down to the close-up view and take a better look at this thing. Alright guys, so as you can see, we've got the Ravage 230 in its original box, so let's quickly take a look around the packaging and then we'll talk about what's inside. So, first and foremost, we have the traditional Wismec packaging here. Black box, silver emboss, you know the drill, sinuous design, Ravage 230. Nice picture of the device there, sample not for sale. On the bottom, we have a Wismec logo. On this side, we have Ravage 230, which is mirrored on the opposite side. On the top, we have wravsk.htm, and on the back, we have some standard information here. What's in the box, UPC, a little scratch-off authentication, some warnings, and some company information. You get the drill. So let's see what we get inside here. Of course, we get our mod, Ravage 230, which we'll talk about in just another second here. We get a foam tray, a little battery warning safety card thing there, and we get the little coil chart for the gnome tank. So that is the description of each coil, and it actually gives it a little rating system as well, which is kind of neat. If you guys were curious, you could pause the video and read all that information if you so choose. But we'll carry on here. Underneath the tray, we have a drip tip. This is a Delrin drip tip, a nice little spare that they throw in for you. Of course, an extra piece of glass as well, and this is kind of like a black tinted glass, if you can see that. It's just barely tinted, but yeah, that's pretty neat. We get a spare coil. This is the single barrel design, as you can see right there. I'm not sure what it's called exactly. This is the WMO1. Well, that kind of makes sense. Then we have our tank. This is the Gnome Exo tank that comes in the box with it. Pretty neat. We have our obligatory bag of spare O-rings right there, of course. And we have our obligatory USB cable. Well, there you go. One of these days, you know, I can probably like knit something pretty cool out of all these USB cables. I don't know. What do you guys think? And then in the bottom, we have some basic manuals. Well, kind of fold-out style, but, you know, it's passable since it fits in frame here, so I won't take off any points there. And it's a little bit bigger, but it does have color graphics, so I guess we'll call it even on this one. It's -5 points and +5 points at the same time, so there's that. Alright guys, let's talk about the specs. First of all, it utilizes 2 high-amp 18650 batteries. Output modes include variable wattage, temp control for nickel, titanium, and stainless, as well as TCR mode. Output wattage is 1 to 230 watts. Resistance range is 0.05 to 1.5 ohms for temp control modes, and 0.1 to 3.5 ohms for variable wattage modes. Temp control range is 100 to 315 Celsius, or 200 to 600 Fahrenheit. The max charging current is 2 amps. The max output current is 50 amps. Output voltage range is 0.5 to 9 volts. It's got a large 1.45-inch color display, 2 amp max charging current for quick charge, dual circuit protection, reverse polarity protection, and the e-liquid capacity of the gnome tank is 2 mil or 4 mil. Alright guys, so I'm just going to get this Ravage 230 all set up and show you how to do it as well. So let's go ahead and get started by putting in some batteries. As you can see by opening up the battery tray, it's labeled very clearly in the bottom of the chamber there. So we're just going to put our positive down in that one and our negative down in that one. Close the lid, and just like that, it is on and ready to vape. Now, this screen is actually really nice and bright. It's a little bit hard to see on camera here, but that is the camera, not the screen itself. As you can see, you have all the pertinent information on the screen, your battery level, you have a puff counter, you have the resistance of your coils, your wattage output, your voltage output, as well as a little clock up here in the corner, which is kind of a neat touch there. I like that. You have the little charging port right there, which does support 2 amp charging, as well as these two function buttons, plus and minus. We have our fire button on this side here, and it is very, very clicky and very stealthy because it is kind of hidden into the whole design aspect of the mod itself, which is nice. Very simple overall kind of form factor to it. There's really not a lot to talk about when it comes to this device here, other than, you know, the basics. So in order to shut off the screen, all you have to do is press this button right up top here. If you want to just lock that screen, just press it like that and the screen goes off, and now you can vape it without that screen turning on, which is kind of a nice touch. If you choose to vape it with the screen on, you can do that as well, and I don't really see any difference in the response time. Also, to get into the menu, all you have to do is click the button 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and it gets you into this menu right here. And you navigate that with the plus and minus button. You can see very clearly which one is selected, and the mode selection button is also going to be this button up top here. So if you want to just exit back out to the main screen, you just click that button and boom, you're back at the main screen. You want to go back into the menu, it's 3 clicks again, 1, 2, 3. And then there you go. So this is how you're going to change modes. This is going to be how you set up the entire device. So this main menu function here is very, very crucial to get used to. But other than that, it's pretty darn easy. You know, if you want to use temp control, everything is just based off of this menu here. So we're just going to go back to the main screen, and how you lock the button is 5 clicks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there we go. It shuts it off. I mean, it's pretty much the same as a button lock. It doesn't take that long to turn on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's instantly on, like I said there. So basically, that's a button lock. It's kind of technically shutting the device off, but if you really, really, really want to be safe, and when you put it in your bag, then I would definitely shut it off anyways. So there you go. That's the basic startup functions for the Ravage 230. Let's go ahead and go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this thing, and we'll talk about it some more. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the close-up section of the video. Now let's talk about my personal thoughts about this device, some pros, some cons, and whether or not it's worth purchasing. Starting off today with the pros, and my first pro is that it has a big, bright screen. This screen is huge on here, it's bright, it's colorful, and it gets all the information that is needed right there on that screen, which is perfect. It actually has a little bit of a design element to it, which I really like. It shows all the necessary information that you need: battery life, resistance, how many puffs you're at, your wattage, your voltage, and it even has a little clock on there as well. So that's something that's really cool that they decided to upgrade on this model here, and I'm really digging it. My second pro for this one is not only is the 510 connection centered, but it also fits larger atomizers. Right now I've got the Elite V2 on there, and as you can see, it's sitting pretty. This is a big boy coming in at 28 millimeters in diameter, and it fits nice and perfectly flush all the way up to the beveled edge on top. If you include that bevel, you could probably get a 30 millimeter on there, although it might stick out just ever so slightly. So not too bad, I gotta say. It does look a little bit top heavy, but at the same time, it does fit nice and flush, which is the most important thing for me. And my third pro for this one is the ease of operation. This one is really easy to figure out. It took me maybe 5 minutes out of the box to get this thing up and running, ready to vape. And with that, the user interface is really, really good as well, especially since it has a nice big, bright, bold, beautiful color screen on there. That way, it's easy to tell which menu selection you're actually highlighting, and it's just easy to go and navigate from there. So yeah, as far as the operation on this thing, very easy, very good for people that are kind of just new and getting into the whole vaping scene. And my fourth and final pro for this device is not only does it have a button lock, but it has a screen lock as well. So let's just say you make a menu selection and you want to have a vape without distracting the people around you. All you have to do is just click that main button up there and the screen turns off. There you go. You can have a vape and the screen's not going to turn on, which is great because not only is it going to not distract those around you, but it also saves a little bit of battery life. All right, guys, so moving on to the cons. My first con is that the battery door on this thing is a little bit on the flimsy side. Now, one thing I really can't stand is when you have it on a vape mat or any surface that can grip onto that battery door at all, you can just kind of nudge it forward and release that battery latch, and when you go to have a vape, you pick it up, and the batteries fly out everywhere. It's really annoying, and it's just a big pain in the ass. One thing that I noticed is just the slightest little nudge, just like that. That's all it takes to open up that battery door. So with that, if you drop your batteries all the way onto the ground, it could potentially damage them and cause some problems in the long run. My second con for this one is, for some strange reason, I can't get my computer to recognize it. Now, I do run a Mac, but I have done this a million other times with other Wismec mods, and it's worked no problem. For this one here, I plug it in and I load up the booting software from Wismec, and I just cannot get my computer to actually recognize that there's a mod plugged into it. So it kind of worries me, especially since Wismec emailed me a couple of times telling me the first thing I should do right out of the box is update that firmware. So I don't know. I really hope I don't run into any issues. Nothing has happened so far, but I will keep you guys posted, of course. And my third con is that I don't trust the finish on it. I really don't think it's very high quality because I brought it with me to Vape Showcase in St. Louis, and already it has quite a significant amount of wear and tear. There's a lot of spots that the paint has completely rubbed off on, and I do have a few little nicks and scratches here or there, but that's kind of everyday use sort of thing. But with that, I don't think your finish is going to last super long on this thing. Just be aware of that going into it, and if you're really concerned about it, you might want to just choose the stainless steel option. And for my fourth and final con, it's a bit subjective, of course, because I've had a million of these Wismec devices, and they've all came with the gnome tank. I personally can't stand the gnome tank. I really wish they would change up their game a little bit. Hopefully, after the Chinese New Year, they come out with some innovation and some new ideas for new tank designs, because personally, I just do not like the gnome. I don't know what it is exactly about it. It's not a terrible tank. It's okay. It's passable, but I just have no interest in it. They decided to change it up a little bit with the Gnome EXO version on this one, but I really cannot see any difference whatsoever other than aesthetically and with a new little blue matchy drip tip. So at the end of the day, is this device worth purchasing? Would I go out of my way to pick one of these up if I didn't get this one in for a review? And I'm going to say yes to this one, but only just barely. Honestly, the price point is really its only saving grace as far as I'm concerned. The screen is really nice on it, but the battery door issue is really a pain in the ass for me personally. So yeah, if you're upgrading, then it would be a good option, and I'm sure the mod-only price is really darn cheap. So just give it a look if you want. I'll put a link right down there in the description below. So that about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Don't forget to click that notification bell right next to the subscribe button if you want to be alerted whenever I upload videos. Big shout out to you guys in the notification squad for getting here early. Leave me some comments in the box below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on the Ravage 230 or anything else you guys want to discuss down there. Also, check out the links I have right in the description below. That's where you're going to find the advocacy and my social media links, so check those out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, vape on.